Hello guys and welcome to episode 1 of Thrillcraft, a series in which I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks on how to build the most realistic roller coasters in Minecraft. Today we're going to be focusing on how to build a realistic dispatch and lift hill mechanism, and it's a bit different to how you think, and I'm going to start this episode off by actually showing you a standard way that people tend to make a dispatch system and lift hill in Minecraft. Once I've gone through a couple of things. Firstly, this series will require you to have some redstone knowledge, however, no more really than you may be used to when attempting to build Minecraft roller coasters. You pretty much just need to know how to activate and activate and deactivate things with redstone really. So things like, you know, if you press a button above a redstone, a redstone mechanism, it's gonna activate it, stuff like that. Stuff that you've probably figured out yourself. And if you are a bit concerned about the redstone side of things, then there are plenty of tutorials online regarding redstone. However, there aren't many tutorials online, if any really, about the stuff I'm going to be teaching you how to do in this episode and future episodes. The stuff I'm going to be teaching you guys is stuff I've sort of learned by looking at other people's creations of Minecraft theme parks and based off a couple of tutorials I've seen as well. First thing I will need to note is that as the title suggests, or will suggest in this video, this mechanism is going to be made using command blocks rather than simply redstone, which is probably what you're used to. And in terms of command blocks, you firstly need to have cheats switched on, and for the stuff we're going to be doing in this episode, you're also going to need to have coordinates switched on. You'll be able to see coordinates in the top left, and if you don't have those switched on and don't know how to switch them on, I'll show you quickly. What you need to do is go into settings, go into games, and there'll be toggles here for show coordinates. You can see I've got it on, and then further down there'll be one for activate cheats. That also needs to be on. But yeah, without further ado, let me show you a standard sort of roller coaster style mechanism that people tend to build in Minecraft. You can see we've got a powered rail there, and then we've got our lift hill, or what will be our lift hill, and we've got a series of basically detector rails activating powered rails, and this is what you're used to. Now the problem with this, as you're going to see, is the minecart is going to go too fast up the lift hill in comparison to what would be considered realistic, and if you want that, then that's fine, and it can actually be useful for things like creating a cable lift on Intamin Giga coasters, stuff like that, Intamin Mega coasters that they have. However, for a standard chain lift, which is what I'm going to try and replicate in this video, or show you guys how to replicate, should I say, you need things a bit slower. So you can see we've got a button here next to a powered rail. I'm sure many of you will know that if I press this, it's going to activate the powered rail, and we're going to go zooming off. And then as we go up the lift hill, the detector rails are basically redstone triggers. They will trigger the powered rails in front of us, and you can see that we're not going, this isn't actually too bad, but we are still going quite fast up this, considering that sort of oh, there's a wandering trader there. We'll leave him be. Considering that typically in Minecraft we class one block as being 1 meter, this is about 30 blocks high, so 100 foot, which is pretty average for a lot of roller coasters. It went up there quite fast. I'm sure those of you who are enthusiasts, and this is specifically targeted, this video, at theme park enthusiasts who play Minecraft, will agree that went quite fast. So yeah, we are going to create something using command blocks, which is an alternative way to create sort of minecart mechanisms than using powered rails and which are basically redstone mechanisms. So command blocks are actually redstone sort of features in that they can be activated with redstone, And what a command block is more specifically is it's kind of a block that can be used to execute commands. You'll see if I press slash here, I open up chat, and many of you will know, or some of you will, that you can enter commands in here and make different things happen. You can set the time of day. Command blocks are basically like a permanent sort of saved command that you can execute at any time with something such as redstone, and you can also have command blocks always active as well, in which case they'll just continuously execute a command. Speaking of which, and to show you a good introduction to commands if you've not seen them in action before, the sun is actually setting now. Now, we could sleep in a bed and skip today. I don't really want to build at night because it's quite dark. We could sleep in a bed, or what we could do, which is a bit quicker, is we could enter a command to set the time of day back to midday. And what you would do is you would type slash or open chat. Xbox consoles and Pocket Edition will have a button to do that. I am teaching this in Bedrock Edition because most people play that. However, I will be putting commands where necessary, such as in a second, above or on screen, and I'll put all the commands in a video in a pinned comment as well for those who are playing Java, so you know what to do, because you can do all of this, what I'm going to do in Java. It's just the commands are different, and that is because the Java edition Minecraft's written in a different programming language, so the commands and how you write them is based off a sort of a different kind of set of rules for how things should be written than the Bedrock edition. Yeah, so if we type slash always day, you'll notice that it goes straight back to day. There we go, the sun's high in the sky, and it's going to stay up there, so we won't have to worry about night time again. So that reduces, eliminates sort of the inconvenience of having to sleep in beds, and it's also quicker. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to basically change a few features of the roller coaster. I'm going to get rid of all the powered rails, and I'm going to get rid of the detector rails that are activating the powered rails, and I'm also going to place a couple more detector rails down, basically to set things up so that we are ready. And I'm going to move a couple of other things as well, but I'm basically going to set things up so we're ready to build this mechanism, sort of rebuild it using command blocks, and I'll see you guys in a minute once I've done that. Okay guys, so I'm back, and you'll immediately be able to see, I was losing my words right there, that we no longer have a sloped powered rail to basically power the minecart, dispatch it. We no longer have that. We've got a detector rail in its place, which, as I mentioned before, is a redstone trigger. It can basically send a redstone signal when a minecart runs over it. We've then got a lift hill with no powered rails, no detector rails. These are all standard rails. And then you'll see at the top we've got another detector rail, which is basically going to act as sort of, or simulate, should I say, a roller coaster train being released from a chain lift. Because what I'm essentially going to do here, what we essentially need to do, is we need to create or use a command in a command block to basically move the minecart from the detector rail, and we're also going to create, I should say now, a mechanism too, to basically spawn in infinite minecarts to basically replace a dispenser using a command block, because as you'll know, a dispenser only has so many slots that you can put minecarts in, so you will eventually run out. We could create some complicated infinite minecart thing using redstone and hoppers and all sorts, but we don't need that because we can use a command block. So yeah, and that's another advantage of command blocks. They can help, they can act as a good alternative, sort of less complex in some cases. They can act as a good, less complex alternative to using some complex, more sort of messy redstone mechanisms that can be hard to cover up, whereas with a command block, you've only got the command block you'd need to hide in terms of hiding a mechanism. But yeah, we're going to need 3 command blocks for this. And you may be thinking, okay, I'll go in my basically catalogue of blocks we have here and all sorts and search for command block. But you'll notice if I search for command block, nothing comes up. And that's because command blocks are not included in there. To get a command block, we actually have to use a command. I know. Yeah, so it's one of the few blocks in Minecraft that isn't actually obtainable in a sense. You can only get it with a command, because all the blocks in here are only the obtainable blocks, because Minecraft does feature some non-obtainable blocks essentially. Yeah, so we need another command. Again, we need to start with a slash, and this time we need to type in give and that at and then at s, which represents ourselves, because we want to give the command block to ourselves. Give is obviously saying that we want to give ourselves a block, and then obviously we need to say what block we want to give to ourselves. So we're going to type command underscore block, and you'll see there command block appears, and you'll notice sort of words appearing as a type there, which act as hints that can help you out, because Minecraft is obviously trying to figure out what we want, and as it's doing that, it'll help us out. That's a good feature of Minecraft. And oh, it's raining. But yeah, I'll press enter and you'll see command block appears in our inventory. What we can actually do to stop the rain is enter another command, /weather clear, and then you'll notice just like that the rain will go. It'll probably start again, in which case I'll probably use the command again, because I don't really want it raining, because who does? It rains enough here in the UK. But yeah, you'll see we've got a command block in our inventory. Just like any block in creative, you can place as many of these as you need, and we're going to need 3 of them. We're going to need 1 command block right there underneath the button, and I'll tell you now, that button is going to basically spawn in a minecart, which is going to do with a command, and we're going to spawn on the detector rail, and underneath that detector rail we are going to need another command block, and then we also need a 3rd command block, which you can put anywhere really, but we'll just put it right there. Right next to the other one. You do need it, I'll say now though, at least 1 block away from the other one, because otherwise things will get really messed up. You'll see why later. Or I'll explain briefly. It's basically because there's going to be redstone activating that 3rd command block, other redstone stuff, and we don't want that interfering with this command block here, or I should mention this command block here, because otherwise the whole thing will just do stuff we don't want it to do. It will summon loads of minecarts, or it could do all sorts. But yeah, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at this command block as our first one, because the command that needs to go in there is arguably the simplest. So we'll start off with that one, and you want to take a note of the detector rail position first before going over there and entering a command. So you'll see we've got -1, 7 and 14. I should quickly explain about the X, Y and Z axis in Minecraft, because that's what those 3 numbers refer to for the position. I should say in Java, if you want to see your position, you press F3. Yeah, I forgot to mention that, but yeah. And then there's also a way to get cheats in Java as well. I believe it's in the settings menu of Java as well, so it'll be in there somewhere. But yeah, you'll see. Well, it's actually 0. I was stood a bit off to the left, or in front of me. Sorry, it's 0, 0, 7. 0, 7 and 15. There we are. Or is it 14? 15? I think it's 14. Yeah, so I think it's 0, 7, 14. 0 being x-axis, which is either north, south, east or west. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think x is east or west. You'll see forwards I go into negative numbers, backwards I go into positive numbers. Z is north or south, and then Y is going up and down, but we don't need to worry about the y-axis for the sake of this tutorial that much. However, we do need it when we're summoning the minecart, but the X and Z axis will be important later. So we got 0, 7, 14. We go over to the command block here. You can press the build button, whatever that is for you on there. And see we've got command input here. And the command we need, which is going to be basically executed when we press the button, is we need summon to tell it to summon something. And then you'll see you've got a bit of a key there for the at. So you got at s self, which is what we used before, and then all sorts of stuff. What we need is at e, and you'll see that says all entities. However, we can narrow that down to a single minecart we need some square brackets. We need to open the square bracket, sorry, and then we need to type in type equals minecart, and then close the square bracket, which basically tells the game that we want to summon a minecart, because that's what we want. We want to, that's going to be our coast train essentially. And then we need to basically tell it where to summon it, so the position in the order X, Y, Z. So basically the order that it's displayed to you, the order the coordinates displayed to you. So that will be 0, 7 and 14. And there you go, that's the command. I'll just back out of there a minute and I'll show the other stuff command block wise in there in a minute. Now I'm just going to check this is the right, we got the coordinate right, yes we did. First of all I'm going to go through the other stuff in this command block menu. So you got hover note, which is basically a note that will appear above the command block when you hover over it or you're near it. I would leave that blank. It sounds stupid because it can help you identify what each of your command blocks in your world do. However, I believe it displays through blocks, so it can kind of spoil hiding the mechanism. So yeah, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it does show through blocks like other name tags. So yeah, because this basically acts as a name tag, like for a player, or a name tag that you use to name something in an anvil. So yeah, you'll see we've got block type. There's 3 types of command blocks in Minecraft. There's impulse, which basically is something that executes once. Chain we don't need to worry about, but repeat we'll need later, which is basically something that repeats until it loses a redstone signal in the case of something that needs redstone. But in the case of impulse, the command will execute once when it receives redstone. Condition isn't something you need to be worried about, so just leave that. Redstone, you can specify whether something's always active or needs redstone. If it's always active, basically the command in there will execute again and again. And as for that syntax error there, it's saying we've got an error. It's not. I don't know, it's a weird glitch with the command blocks where it will sometimes display a syntax error even if it's not even executed before. I don't know why it does that. And then execute delaying ticks. So you may be wondering what a tick is. A tick basically refers to something called a timer, which basically many games, including Minecraft, have. And timers are essentially sets of instructions in the game's code that tell things to basically happen again after a certain period of time and then keep happening or often keep happening. It depends, but obviously with the command blocks, if you specify it to be impulse, it will only happen once. But it's basically related to time, and essentially one tick in Minecraft is 0.05 seconds, so there's 20 in a second, but that's something we'll get onto later. But many things like other than command blocks, like you know, like animals moving, enemies moving, they're all controlled by timers, essentially. So basically, the fastest you can get something to happen, if you want something to happen on every tick, would be every 0.05 seconds. And basically the delaying ticks for an impulse command block, which we're using now, it would specify how long to delay once it receives the redstone signal before it executes this command block. If it was a repeating command block, it would basically specify the delay between each time it executes. And as for you know, trying to work out how long it's going to delay for, basically what you would need to do is you would need to divide how many ticks you type in by 20 to get how many seconds. Or alternatively, if you wanted to say how much does 10 ticks delay, you would need to obviously multiply I'm getting that. Anyway, you need the best way to do it is basically work out how many seconds you want, and then times that by 20 to get the number of ticks. Oh, it's getting all mixed up there. Yeah. So basically, I'd do it in seconds, and then basically multiply by 20, and then that's how many ticks you need. Okay, guys, I apologise for this. I've just realised for this particular command, for some reason, you don't actually need the ATI type equals minecart. What you need instead, I've just realised this and we're about to test it. You actually only need to put minecart, but you will need the ATI later. You'll see why later, or you'll see when we need that. But for this particular command block, you just need summon minecart. You don't need to specify it as @e here. But you'll see if we come out of here and we press the button, you'll see a minecart spawns in. And yeah, and oops, I accidentally deleted a rail. But there we are, summon minecart, and then your command, or your coordinate, sorry, is what you need there. And you see here we have another command block, and the purpose of me putting this command block here is basically I want to specify that I want to essentially put a redstone block next to this command block, because what this command block down here is going to do is it's going to basically repeatedly teleport the minecart to create a kind of animation effect, because there's a teleport command in Minecraft which can basically move something to a coordinate. So what I want to do is basically continuously teleport the minecart a very, very small distance, so that it creates sort of an animation effect. So you can't see each individual teleportation, because this will be happening every 0.05 seconds, so every tick. So it'll look as if the minecart is sort of moving normally, if that makes sense. It will do later, don't worry. So what I want to do here is I'm going to, similar to the summon command, I want to spawn in a redstone block. The command's slightly different, but I want to spawn in a redstone block. This could be any redstone, anything, you know, that conducts redstone really. So something like a torch would work as well. But we'll do a block, and we'll put it next to it. So I'm going to take a coordinate again. So say we put the block here, it just needs to be touching the block, so it can be above or on any 4 of its sides, or it can be below it as well. So basically against any of the 6 faces of the block. So 1, 4, 16 is our coordinate. And this time I'm going to go over to the block here, and we're going to type /set block, So this is similar to the summon command, but for blocks. We're going to do set block, and then we're going to do redstone. No, actually, we're going to do the coordinates first. Sorry, and I've already forgot the coordinates. I can't believe I've already forgot the coordinates. The coordinates are 1, 4, 16. So we're going to do 1, 4, 16. 1, 4, 16. Redstone block. And then as for this side here, it's going to be an impulse command block again. It's going to be unconditional again. We'll leave that. Needs redstone, which the detector rail will handle that. When the minecart's on the detector rail, it's going to basically execute this command, and the redstone block will appear next to the other command block. And now delaying ticks. Now you want to put a delay here because otherwise the minecart's just going to start moving straight away, and then it could be hard for someone to basically jump in it. So yeah, we want a delay, and I want to do a delay of 5 seconds. So in ticks, I'll need to do 5 times 20. And that's going to be 100 ticks. So we're going to delay 100 ticks when the minecart's on that detector rail. And then after 100 ticks, the redstone block is going to be placed next to the other command block, and that is going to continuously teleport the minecart. Speaking of which, we actually need to go to the top of the lift hill to the... I know it's raining again, isn't it? Never mind. We need to go to the other detector rail, and we need to place another impulse command block underneath there, because what this is going to do is going to release the car from the chain. So it's basically going to remove the redstone block from the command block that's continuously teleporting it, because from here gravity is going to do its work like on any roller coaster. So this is essentially a mechanism to release, you know, a train from a chain lift, or the equivalent of that in Minecraft. So what I need to do is I need to take the coordinate again, and this time it's going to be it's the same coordinate as before, sorry guys. It's gonna, we need to take the coordinate again though, because I forgot it. So I'm going to come down here. We said block was going to be on this side, so that's going to be 1, 4, 16. Can't believe I keep forgetting that position. So it's going to be the exact same command again. However, this time we are going to do /set block 1, 4, 16, and we're going to say air, which is basically nothing, no block. So that we're basically setting the block to nothing is essentially what that's doing. So we're setting it to air, nothing there. And then we don't need any delays or anything on that. We can leave everything as it is and just come out there. And there we go. We've just got now one more command to do, which is gonna, we're gonna come down here and to this command block, and this is where things start to get complicated. This is going to be a repeating command block, as I said, and it's going to continuously move the minecart a very small distance to create an animation, sort of a movement animation. So we're going to come down here, and what I want you guys to take note of, what you need to take note of, is basically the directions of which the minecart is going to be going in between those two detector rails. So between this detector rail here and between the detector rail at the top of the lift hill. So if we go forward, you'll see that my Z coordinate decreases. So we're essentially moving, when the train dispatches, is moving in a negative Z direction. And then if we come around this corner, because we need to take the direction, basically the other direction it goes, this corner will do its work on its own. As long as we have this other direction, as long as we specify to move it in this direction when we teleport it, it'll all make sense in a minute. And you'll see that this is going in positive X direction when it goes up the lift hill. So what we want to do essentially is continuously teleport the minecart in a negative Z direction, and also a positive X direction. It may be different for you. It depends how you built your track and in what direction you want to go the minecart. You want the minecart to go in, essentially. So you'll have to work that out for yourself when you're building. As for the track, do not worry, minecarts do follow rails when being teleported. They won't just derail off the track. That can be a problem if you're teleporting a minecart really quickly. However, we're only going to be teleporting it very slowly here because we don't want it to go like really fast up the lift hill. That's the whole point of us doing this. We want to slow the minecart down. We want it to go slower than it would be going if we used a normal powered rail mechanism. Come back down here. So there's kind of two commands in one we need to specify here. We've got an execute command we need to specify, and we've got a teleport command we need to specify. What the execute command does is for when the command repeats and the commands are executed over and over, it tells it where to repeat from in terms of what position, and we also specify in there what we want to teleport as well. And you can do that in execute rather than the teleport. So then when you specify the teleport part of the command, you just tell it how much to teleport and it works fine. So we want to do /execute, and then this time, I know I made a mistake this time we do definitely need to put @e and then type equals minecart and then comma, and we also need to put c equals 1. What c equals 1 specifies is we want the nearest minecart. And that is going to obviously be the one on the detector rail, and it will be that once going up the lift hill as well, because there are no other minecarts in this world nearby. That's something to be mindful of when building rides near each other though, is to make sure that the command blocks don't ever trigger minecarts from different rides to the ones they are associated with. You need to be careful of that. Then what we need to do is specify that we want this command, when it's repeated, we want the teleport command to be executed from the position that the minecart is at. And to specify that, you need to specify 3 of these symbols, 3 tildes they're called. On your keyboard, or at least for me, it is shift. The symbol is shift, and then it's the key sort of to the left of the enter key towards the bottom of it, and then for those of you on mobile or console, I'm not sure, it'll depend, you'll have to have a look. Just look for a symbol that looks like the 3 that I've just put down. So that basically specifies the X, the Y and the Z coordinate the minecart is at, each of those representing a different axis. So the first representing the X, the second the Y, the third the Z. Then you need to type teleport, or you can do TP as well, but I prefer to do teleport. And now you need to work out, and this applies for the X and the Z axis, you need to work out how fast you want the minecart to go. Now, as I said, there are 20 ticks in a second. This command block is going to be executed once per tick, because we're not going to put a delay on it. So it's going to be once per tick. This is going to be executed. And as I mentioned before, one block in Minecraft is 1 meter. So when you're considering that, I know roller coasters are typically measured in miles per hour. However, generally for low miles per hour values anyway, the meters per second, because that's what we're going to have to measure in here, it's the easiest one to do. Meters per second is typically half what the same speed is in miles per hour. For low values, that's a very, very rough approximation, and it isn't really that accurate. I could convert between them, because you can calculate and directly convert between them, but it's not really that important for this. We just need the minecart to go relatively slow. And I tend to find that a good value is 0.15 blocks per tick. And then if you multiply that by 20, you'll work out that you'll get 3 blocks or 3 meters per second. Which if you double that, because I said meters per second is typically around about half of the miles per hour speed. It's typically about, that'll be around 6 miles per hour, thereabouts. And lift hills in real life tend to be between about 5 and 8 miles per hour. Typically, so yeah, that's good value. So what you need to do is you're going to be using tildes again, because you're referencing, rather than an exact position, you're referencing a position relative to where the minecart is. So you want to type in tilde 0.15 and another tilde, so then you don't need to specify anything for that, because that'll just reference that you want to teleport, keep the Y position the same to where it is, wherever the minecart is, and it'll just follow the track pretty much. And then you want another tilde 0.15, and you'll notice the commands disappear, but if you press this plus, you'll go into a bigger view. That's what can be used for longer commands. So what that's going to do is, for each time the command, each game tick, while the redstone block is touching this command block, it's going to teleport the minecart 0.15, and oh, I've just realised something else as well. This Z needs to be minus 0.15, because we're moving in a negative Z. We're moving in a negative direction along the Z axis. That's important. It's important you put minus 0.15. Otherwise, when the minecart dispatches, it'll go the opposite direction to where that curve is. So basically, what we're doing is every time the game ticks, when the command block's active, it'll teleport 0.15 in the X direction and minus 0.15 in the Z direction. So yeah, and that's it. It'll just follow, as I said, it'll follow the track, so you're not going to get flying minecarts or anything like that. So it'll follow the track, so it might not be teleporting 0.15 blocks minus Z or X all the time. It will follow the track, as you'll see. And then one last thing we need to do is we need to set this to repeating, so it will repeat over and over again, because if it was set to impulse, it would just teleport the minecart once. So what we can do now is get in the minecart, because we're done. What we can do is we'll press this button, and then what should happen is it should spawn a minecart in. There should be a 5 second delay, and then it should start moving. So we'll press this button, jump in. I just hope I got everything right. Come on, and there we go. It may lag sometimes, but it won't always do that. And you'll see we are moving up the lift hill at a more normal speed this time. And here we go. This is more normal. I know it looks quite laggy, it won't always be like this, but you'll see there we go, and we've reached the top. And we've stopped moving because we've gone over that other detector rail. So that is it. Sometimes it'll lag like that, sometimes it won't. I only tend to use the command block method when necessary, and for the rest of my layouts, unless we're doing specific stuff like inversions, which I'll get onto later, which command blocks can be useful for, I tend to use the normal sort of just motion. The reason I've actually put, I'll mention quickly, that detector rail on a slope is because teleporting isn't classed as the minecart's being in motion, as in when it's sort of moved otherwise. So if I was to put the command block, if I was to put the detector rail on top of there, the minecart would just stop and it wouldn't keep like going due to gravity. You'll notice actually it did sort of stop there, it didn't keep going off. So what I recommend you do is you put a... You actually, I know I've built it like funny. I recommend you have a slope, a continuous slope sort of thing. You could have a little pre-drop actually, if you went like, let me just get my... If you went like that, you could have a little pre-drop and then have it like go straight and then go steeper again, because many B&M coasters have that, so you can build it like that. But yeah, that is pretty much everything I have to show you. What I will do quickly is I'm going to basically make things look a bit prettier with the lift hill. I won't worry about the station. I'll do a whole separate video on how to build realistic stations, but I'll make the lift hill look a bit prettier. So, you know, with a catwalk and supports and stuff, and I'll see you guys in a minute. So, as I'm sure you can tell, that slope of blocks, as it was before, looks a bit more like a realistic lift hill now. So I'll just explain briefly what I've done. As you can tell, I've put some more supports in. You would have noticed the one in the station area before. I put some more in. As I said, we'll work on the station more later. And if you guys are interested, the track is made of lime concrete, and the supports and catwalk, as you'll be able to see here, is made out of white concrete. I just put a couple more blocks there, just so it's more complete. There we go. And I put the iron bars in later, because yeah, they're not in my inventory. But yeah, I've used iron bars for sort of the catwalk railing. Those of you are enthusiasts, I'm sure, will know about catwalks and roller coasters. They're used for sort of evacuation purposes and just getting up the lift hill. So yeah, we've got a catwalk here now with some iron bars, got the supports, and then these 4 points at the bottom are meant to be like footers, which you often see on roller coasters, steel coasters. We're trying to model a traditional sort of B&M sit down here, Dragon Khan style thing. You'll see we've got these 4 here, and these are made out of quartz slabs to match the white support colour scheme. But yeah, that's the lift hill. Why don't we give the roller coaster one last ride then? And I'll show you as well that the pre-drop now works. The minecart goes right to the end after being released from the lift hill. But let's get in this minecart. Let's have a go. There we go. Oh, is it being a bit less laggy this time? It's been maybe slightly less laggy. There's no real way to avoid that. There is a way to turn off the commands, which I'll probably show you next episode or another episode, but that's not too important now. But there's a way to turn off the command output, and there we go. We're at the end of our little pre-drop. But yeah, that's everything I have to cover in this episode. Apologies, it's a bit of a long one. Future episodes won't be as long. This one's just a bit long because I've been sort of explaining the basics of command blocks, but future episodes will assume you have a bit more knowledge of command blocks, having published this one before then, obviously. But yeah, thank you for watching. I just wanted to kind of, with this series, and especially with everyone being in lockdown, even in some other countries parks are closed, it's closed season, I thought, why not? Some of you may be playing Minecraft. I know a lot of people still play it even in 2020, so I thought I'd just do this. I'm going to be doing some Planet Coaster tutorials soon as well, because Planet Coaster console's coming out. I'm not going to be doing it on console, however the same will apply because it's basically the same game with a modified interface and a couple of unique bits, but everything will apply across PC and console. So I'm going to do some Planet Coaster tutorials soon as well. Bring back Planet Coaster to the channel, start to do that. But yeah, make sure you subscribe and click the bell to enable notifications so you don't miss any future videos in this series or any future videos on the channel. Leave the video a like if you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.